Welcome to Mr. Orfeo. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got Ancient Tomb, Dragon Skull Summit, and that will be a Worn Power Stone. We do have Toxic Deluge. We just don't really have any ramp access. Do we want to keep on this one? We are on the draw. We got Life's Legacy. Yeah, I guess we keep on this one. I mean, we could ship it back, but we've got Dragon Skull into Ancient Tomb, into Toxic, in case our opponent gets some kind of gnarly stuff out there, so we'll try to make it work. We got, yeah, there's nothing wrong with shipping. I always just want to have at least a piece of ramp or some sort of card. And there we go, run into Kodama's Reach, but we just need to find a green source now. That is the main thing. So let's go and lead off with Dragon Skull Summit. Anything else, we will pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Mr. Orfeo, the Boulder, and also Let Me Solo. That is 100% in reference to Elden Ring. And no, I don't play the game. I wish I did. I just don't have time to play it. To be perfectly honest, with me doing magic and channel stuff, I just don't have enough time. But I enjoyed very greatly the story of the Let Me Solo character. I just, as a fan of gaming in general, that made me very happy. So I'm just going to lead off with Ancient Tomb. Let's go for Worn Power Stone. So when I was building Mr. Orfeo, I was like, hey, there we go. It's a way to pay homage to Let Me Solo. So anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, so with Mr. Orfeo, whenever you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. Playing gets a Raffine, Scheming Seer, flying and ward for 1. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Then, yeah, just connive for X. That's the draw card ability. Alright, so we got Watcher of the Sphere swinging in. And hopefully they dump a few more creatures out there. We can take advantage of this Toxic Deluge. We're looking, oh, there we go. I was about to say, we're looking for a green source. That's all we need. So let's go and drop in Scalding Tarn. Let's go ahead and crack Scalding Tarn. Grab ourselves, I guess, a red-green source that comes into play untapped. Maybe Taiga Uppercut. And so let's get Taiga onto the ground. Let's go. Let's get Taiga down. That's 1, 2. And then Taiga Uppercuts from Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo, if you're ever curious what that is when I say Taiga. And so this is a very video game commentary. So I guess at this point we've got black. Yeah, let's go and grab another black source. And let's go and grab another green source. I think that's good, because then we still technically have 2 red sources. So go and drop in the black source onto the battlefield. Forest goes into our hand. We've already made the land drop for the turn. And let's see if we can't get Raffine out there and take care of Toxic Deluge. I think that sounds like a good plan. Then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover both commandos. I'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate it. It does make a difference. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play Magic Online, they've got you covered. Inkgaming.com/Jolt for 10% off of your order. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home with Mr. Orfeo and your big little hammer thing, shovel thing, it is officially free time. So let's have some fun. All right, so it's going to be Curse of Verbrosity. And I'm pretty sure that's enchanting us, I think. We'll see exactly what that is. We have nothing we can do at instant speed, so we'll let them swing in. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, you draw a card. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. All right, so they're going to get some card advantage with that. And it looks like they're just kind of just chilling right now with Watcher of the Sphere. So let's make the land drop for the turn. That's going to be Forest. And I think what we're going to do right now is we're just going to do some setting up. We've got a couple different options we can go for. We got Life's Legacy, Run Amok. So let's get Xenagos onto the battlefield. Yeah, because I want to cash in this. I want to cash in this Toxic Deluge if we can. So let's do some setting up. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. Tap down 1 with Swamp, and we're going to tap down 1 on Shadow Sphere. We're not leaving up Assassin's Trophy mana because I want our opponent to think the coast is clear, that they can just kind of roll some stuff out. So if we can get Raffine and maybe get another little 2-drop flyer or something like that, then we can go for Toxic Deluge, and that'll clear us up for Mr. Orfeo. And especially with Xenagos out there, beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gets haste and +X until end of turn, where X is that creature's power. So we've got some good stuff. So we'll see if, and actually they're just going to end up going Rhystic Study. All right, so they're just kind of going for the bird line of play. We do have to watch out for some counter magic. They do have Watery Grave up, so that's at least going to be 1 blue mana. But if they end up countering Mr. Orfeo, not the end of the world on that one, to be perfectly honest. So I guess if we wanted to go Counterspell Test, we could go Toxic to get rid of Watcher. That could be something that we want to do. so let's see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we do have 8 mana, so we can try to go for the Toxic Deluge line of play and still get down Mr. Orfeo, which that's going to be 7. That should be enough for, excuse me, Shadow Sphere is going to be a 2 equip. So I guess, and we don't have any protection for Shadow Sphere right now. Yeah, let's give Mr. Orfeo a shot. Yeah, I like doing that. We can give, because if we end up getting down Mr. Orfeo, that does cut us into Toxic for Raffine, but we're just looking at a 2/2 bird over there. So let's give it a shot. Let's see if our opponent has any sort of counter magic on this one. We will end up paying 1 on that Rhystic Study, because we do want to cut that card draw off. So let's go and pay 1 on a Rhystic Study. Yes, we will definitely pay that. So it's going to be Mr. Orfeo. We are in Counterspell magic, but it looks like it's going to stick. And let's go for Shadow Sphere onto Mr. Orfeo. That does cut us off of Run Amok, but actually I'm okay with kind of doing this because we are playing against Esper, so we're looking at paths, swords, so we kind of just want to see what we can get away with right now. So let's see if they've got any sort of spot removal answer. All right, so we got Trample and Lifelink. Let's go ahead and push in, and it's going to get +X until end of turn at the beginning of combat. So that's going to be a... All right, so there we go. All right, opponent's going to end up going for Cyclonic Rift, sending it back to the hand. All right, so we did get some action out of the hand, so that's going to send Mr. Orfeo back. We miss out on that Xenagos trigger, and then anything else, we will pass the turn. So that does end up working out if they do end up getting down Raffine and another flying creature next turn, is that we can still end up going for Toxic Deluge. But now we've got a pretty good line of play in that we can just simply just keep getting down Mr. Orfeo and seeing if this is any sort of... you know, getting a sort of action out of their hand as far as trying to stop Mr. Orfeo. So, all right, so they're swinging it for 2. That's going to drop us down to 27. And that's going to be Unesh, which I do have a lot of respect for Unesh, because that's going to be, and let's see, that's going to be a +1/+1 until end of turn. So that's going to be a Factor Fiction from Unesh. So how do we want to split this up? So it's going to be Smothering Tithe, Multicolors. Ooh, Urza's Filter. That's actually pretty good in this stack. So how do we want to... I guess I'm not super worried about Urza's Filter. I'm not super worried about Pearl's Medallion. I mean, that reduction cost, it's, you know, we can get around that. Limdul's Vault allows them to grab anything out of their library. And so, I guess technically, if we wanted to set this up, Limdul's Vault on the bottom, Smothering Tithe. Now, this is a wonderful, wonderful package for them, but it also just gives them reduction. It just gives them treasure tokens. It gives them reduction. You know, it's kind of the same thing having this package. Limdul's Vault, they can grab anything in their deck to close it out. So I'm going to split the piles up like this, because I feel like if we put anything with Limdul's Vault, you know, that'll just be exactly what they want to do, is a tutor and a little bit of a bonus. And, you know, we can get around cost-reducing stuff. But now here's the plus side, is that they're completely tapped out on mana. So let's see what we're going to do. We can go for Mr. Orfeo, but I don't think we can... We still have Run Amok that we can go for. Let's see what we draw into, though. All right, so we run into Fling, because we can Toxic Deluge right now, and then they rebound with a lot of the setup stuff that we went for, or we just go for... Yeah, I think I'm actually okay with Toxic Deluge. Because if we get out Mr. Orfeo, it's going to get +X, where X is that creature's power, so we get... And that's going to be 3, that's going to be 6, which doesn't really do much. We could potentially get to 6, and that'll be 12 to Run Amok. I think I like hitting the reset button on Toxic Deluge. You know, that kind of puts them into going to Raffine and taking a turn off for next turn. And then that +3/+3 with Run Amok would probably be a pretty good option. So let's do that. And actually, we can still get down Mr. Orfeo and do Toxic Deluge. Okay, I like that. All right, so we're going to end up paying 4 life on this one. Click OK, so it's going to be Toxic for 4. And if we end up tapping down on Rhystic Study... Either way, we're going to be tapping down for 5 of Mr. Orfeo. So yeah, either way, we're going to have to let him get a card draw on this one. So we're not going to pay for Rhystic Study. That will be a card draw for them. It's going to be Toxic for 4. That's going to clean out those creatures. Let's go for Mr. Orfeo. And then we will be able to pay for this last Rhystic Study. So let's get down to Mr. Orfeo. Let's go to the Combat step. We're going to get the Xenagos trigger. That's going to be a 4/6. We'll go to the Attack step. And then we're going to double Mr. Orfeo's trigger. So that's going to be 8/6, and that'll be 8 total commander damage. Drops them down to 29, and then anything else will pass the turn. So we'll see if they have any sort of spot removal, if they got a board wipe. We did, the 3 of the 6 cards in their hand were things that we know about, and that was some mana reducers and Smothering Tithe. And, you know, at this point, we're okay with that. So that kind of leaves it down to 3 cards in their hand that we're unsure about, so that could be spot removal, could be a board wipe, but we'll see what else is going to happen. Now, as far as next turn goes, we've got some action. We've got Shadow Sphere on Mr. Orfeo, and what we can end up doing is, at the beginning of combat on your turn, we can double it up. Now, if I do end up missing a certain way to optimize the Mr. Orfeo line of play, I do apologize. I'm going to get it out there, but I'm trying my best to deliver commentary and make sure that we are taking the best line of play that we can end up going for. So let's get Raffine kind of popped down just for a little bit. But at least right now, we're looking at probably going for Run Amok. And that, oh, that's a bummer. Well, we got some good stuff on here, and actually we'll take that with that Time Twister. That's Blossoming Defense, Snake Scale, Veil, and Footfall Crater, which is actually a very good option. So I'm actually okay with this, because we can Footfall Crater. That gives us Trample. We go +2/+2. We did lose Fling, which is a little bit of a bummer. But with Blossoming Defense, that stops spot removal from our opponent. And especially with Snake Scale Van. Imperial Seal, okay. So we're going to search our library for a card, put it on top. I guess the main thing is, can we close it out next turn? So we're looking at 8. So let's say that we get Shadow Sphere on there. That's going to be 3. That's going to be 5. That's going to be 6. Double it to 12. And I think that might, no, that'll be 21. We'll see. We'll see what we draw into for the turn. But I think if I'm looking at it correctly, we'll get the +1/+1 on there. I still think we end up kind of just dumping the stuff out then with them going shields down. So let's see what we draw to. Draw into Bayou. Okay. So let's make sure we have as many green sources onto the battlefield. Let's get a Bayou onto the battlefield. Let's go for Shadow Sphere onto Mr. Orfeo. That's going to be 1/2. And whenever you attack, double. So I guess technically it doesn't really matter how we double this stuff up. And I think, so what we'll end up doing is we're going to go for Snakeskin Veil, because it's going to make it a 4/5. Because we want to get as much Xenagos action as possible. So it's going to be a 4/5. And I think what we do is we just let them draw out on this one, because we've got Blossoming Defense, and we've got a Cycling from Crater. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. So we got Snakeskin Veil. That's going to make it a +1, so it's going to make it a 4/5. We go for Blossoming Defense, and that's going to make it +2/+2. That's going to make it a 6/5. We cycle with Footfall Crater, which would have been Tarmogo if this wouldn't have done much. And then we get Xenagos onto the battlefield for the Xenagos trigger. So I think, let's go on and work this through. So we got 3/5. We get the +1 on there, that's a 4/5. Then we get +2/+2, that's a, we're just going to do the power and toughness. So that's going to go to 4, that's going to go to 6. And then we double Xenagos, that's going to go to 12. And then we double Mr. Orfeo, that's going to be 24. Yeah, so we've got it on that one. So we end up going Snakeskin Veil. That's going to double it up to where basically we're going into the attack step with 12. They have no creatures out there. They went for Time Twister. And then we double Mr. Orfeo, and that's going to be 24. So there we go. This is a 1v1 setting. So it's very easy to take out one player in a 1v1 setting. But one of the ways that we can definitely kind of amplify this, and we're going to see if we can draw into it. Maybe it'll let us draw, maybe it won't. But we got stuff like Fling. We've got Essence Harvest, ways that we can deal damage to our other players at the table with this high power and toughness. You saw Life's Legacy. So even with Life's Legacy, if we get to the 24, we're looking at drawing 24 cards of Life's Legacy. So Mr. Orfeo can get some stuff done outside of a 1v1 setting. It does take some setting up. You're kind of putting it all in one Voltron creature, but it's fun to find these lines of plays, to have fun with it. So, but anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Mr. Orfeo. As far as our opening hand goes, yeah, we'll keep on this one. We've got 2 lands. We've got some interaction with Mr. Orfeo, which is not too bad. Unleash, Supernatural, and Footfall Crater, some haste. Yeah, this is good. We will keep on this one. This is pretty much kind of what you were wanting to see in a Mr. Orfeo opening hand. Is a little bit of combat tricks, some haste option with Footfall Crater, a little bit of ramp and 1 Power Stone and a couple lands. So yes, the only thing we could wish for would be some card advantage, but we will take it. I will take it. We don't have to mulligan. That's the main part. And we're playing against Adun Oakenshield, which it's always nice to see these old school commanders keeping it alive on Magic Online. I like seeing that. So there we go. And we run into a land, so we will take that. So let's go ahead and lead off with Badlands. And then we'll go for Footfall Crater on the Badlands. Yeah, I like that. And then the good thing about Footfall Crater is target creature gains trample and haste until end of turn. So that's a really nice thing to be able to go for in Mr. Orfeo. in making sure that we end up with some pretty gnarly stuff. So, but yes, let's go and cover our commander. So we're playing Mr. Orfeo, the Boulder, Let Me Solo. And if you are curious, yes, that is in reference to the Elden Ring Let Me Solo player. I will say this, I don't play Elden Ring. I did look into it, and the amount of time that would be necessary into kind of learning how to make a good character or just building a character in general, I just don't have the time. I want to. If I didn't play Magic, I would probably really be into Elden Ring right now. But at the very least, I wanted to, when I was building Mr. Orfeo, I was like, man, this is fun. Let's do Let Me Solo deck. So there we go. So it is in reference to that. So let's go and lead off with Yavimaya. And actually, yeah, I think Yavimaya is fine. We can get that down next turn. Let's drop in Windswept Heath. And actually, let's do this. So let's go Windswept Heath. We have really nothing else that we need to do. So let's go Windswept Heath. Let's grab Zeotora's Proving Ground. Have that come into play tap. That way we can just... And we'll give... Actually, no, we don't want to give Fauna Shaman haste. Anything else, we will pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, we're playing Mr. Orfeo. Whenever you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. Playing against Adun Oakenshield. For a Jund activation, red, green, black, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So we'll see what sort of deck this is. I don't know if this is Jund Reanimator or Jund good stuff out of the graveyard. I have played against Oakenshield before, but it's been a while. And so just kind of curious to see what that is. Because that is a little bit of a steep activation, but you know, if you got it built right and get the commander out, it can be a lot of fun sometimes. All right, so we run into Hatred. Let's drop in Yavimaya, because yeah, either way they're going to be able to get it with Yavimaya. So let's drop in Yavimaya. Let's go for Worn Power Stone. And so what we're probably going to end up doing on this one, yeah, we get down Worn Power Stone than anything else. Let's pass the turn over to our opponent. Actually, so we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate it. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play Magic Online, they've got you covered. They're just like a card store. Quick shout out to ingaming.com/Jolt for 10% off of your order. And last but not least, I started a Patreon, so if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home, on your horse, it is officially free time. Let's have some fun. Hopefully you're keeping score on Mr. Boulder, Mr. Orfeo's side. That's what we're rooting for. All right, so let's go ahead and go for Skyshroud Claim. I think that sounds good. So we can go, actually, we can go Yavimaya. Let's make sure we're just getting the Skyshroud Claim set up first. It's going to be Yavimaya, and we tap down bad. I don't think we really need Badlands that bad, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Let's get these lands onto the battlefield, because either way, we're still going to be able to get down Hierarch next turn. And what do we want to grab? We want to grab some tap lands. Let's see what we've got. We've got Yavimaya out there, which is going to turn all of our lands into forest. So let's go ahead and grab Overgrown Tomb. Which is, excuse me, yeah, that's going to be a forest, and what we'll end up probably grabbing is Stomping Ground, because we actually just have both of those come into play tapped, and because we've actually, yeah, can we get down, or do we want to get down Mr. Orfeo? We have not made the land drop for the turn yet, either. And then we go for Hierarch next turn. Yeah, I guess technically that's kind of an expensive hit. I was thinking about just going for Ignoble this turn, but I didn't really think about getting down Mr. Orfeo. So yeah, we're going to pay 2 life on this one. A little bit of a hit on that one. But for some reason, I was thinking of only getting down Hierarch. But it's like, yeah, as soon as I grabbed those lands, I was like, we probably wouldn't hurt to get down Mr. Orfeo. Let's tap down red. And then tap down for 1. There we go. All right, tap down 1 more. So we're going to have Mr. Orfeo come down. And we've got some stuff for next turn. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. Let's get a mana count. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 mana if we skip out on Footfall Crater, but that's going to get rid of Double Strike. So we'll kind of see how they decide to go for that. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that will be 8 mana. So at the very least, next turn, we've got Ignoble Hierarch, which is going to allow us to go for Exalted. All right, so our opponent is, yeah, they're going to hold back. They're going to hold the crew back. I don't blame them on this one. They've got 3, so actually we've got a free swing in right now. So all right, so we run into Hero's Downfall. Let's drop in Ignoble for 1 green mana. That's going to make it a 3/4, and that'll make it a 6/4. And I think we're okay with that, because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll have 7 mana. let's just kind of see how our opponent decides to do something. Let's go and push in with Mr. Orfeo. We're going to double the target powers. Yeah, I think let's put the Exalted trigger on the stack first. Oh, dang it. We should have done that the other way. We should have put Mr. Orfeo's trigger on the stack. In my head, I got it backwards. All right, so we're going to double the power and toughness of Mr. Orfeo. So we can go for the supernatural stamina. Let's wait until next turn until we get some combat damage going. We should have definitely sequenced that line of play differently. In my head, I was thinking that we do it like a different way. Like I'm dyslexic sometimes, so I get those triggers mixed up on which way we're trying to do it. So should have redone that one, but we'll kind of set it up for next turn. And then we could have also pushed in for some trample damage. So, but next turn we'll end up going for the little bit better line of play. But yeah, that's one of the fun things about Mr. Orfeo is that if you don't know the stack, you can kind of set some of these stacks up kind of weird sometimes. All right, so our opponent's just going to deploy out Oakenshield. And so we're going to try to get some stuff moving for next turn. So I do like that. So let's see what else they got. We've got Hatred that we can go for, which is going to be a ton of damage. So we'll probably try to get in a Hatred line of play. All right, so we run into Rogue's Passage. Let's drop in Rogue's Passage. And let's go to our attack step. Let's go ahead and have definitely going to have the Mr. Orfeo trigger go on the stack first. So look at Mr. Orfeo trigger on the stack. We're going to target Mr. Orfeo. That's going to be Exalted. And that's going to make it a 3/5. And we just end up just going for Hatred. And I think I kind of like doing this because this forces some action on our opponent's side. And we'll tap down for 1 with Rogue's Passage. And what we're probably going to end up doing, let's go for commander damage on this one. So we're going to go 21. Because even if I throw a couple blockers on there, we're going to get the double. Because that's going to double it. Because that's going to be 4. So we're going to pay 20 life on Hatred on Mr. Orfeo. That's going to make it a 23/5. And that's going to make it a 46. And then we can give target creature haste and trample. So let's see if this is good. That should be good. Maybe they've got a 1 mana spot removal. But we've got trample, so that should be enough. And there we go. Knock our opponent down to -4, and that's 44 total commander damage. So yeah, you can see where even though I kind of goofed up that line of play earlier in the game, we could have gotten in some extra damage. You can see with something like Hatred and paying a bunch of life, you can definitely take a player out of the game. Now, this is 1v1, and it's very easy to get Mr. Orfeo in 1v1. You know, there's not 2 other players at the table. But Mr. Orfeo's at a 46 power. We have stuff like Fling in here, so you can use Fling to sacrifice Mr. Orfeo, deal 46 damage to somebody else at the table. We also have different ways to take advantage of the high volume of power. We have Essence Harvest. So there's a lot of different ways in which that even though this is a very good showcasing in 1v1, if you just get the power and toughness going on Mr. Orfeo, and you have some of those kind of sacrifice, deal damage equal to its power, you can knock a couple players out at the table at the same time. So, but anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.